Hi guys, Rick Malava here, and this is just a quick video I put together for Sir Charles. He had a question in the forums, and it's faster for me to do a video than to try to describe it and take snapshots and everything. What Sir Charles is working on is this lamp, and he wants to put these slots into a cylindrical surface here on the top. And so he had taken a snapshot of the geometry that he was working on, and there's some issues I think with your geometry here. It's a lot more complicated than it really needs to be, and there's two particularly nasty flaws in it. One is where you have these two edges very close together running around the surface, especially where this angle is changing here. It's going to cause a crease to appear running around the surface, the cylindrical surface here. The other issue is you've got these very narrow and long triangular faces here, which when you smooth is going to cause pinching. So you can achieve this effect, I think, without having this complexity in your geometry, and let me show you how I would suggest doing it. So what I did is pretty much the same thing to start with. I just basically started with a cylinder and I did some extrusions to get the basic shape, and when you smooth it you get the shape of the lamp. So now we want to put the slots in. So I have some edges here to show where the edges, or the outer edges of my slots are, and so I just deleted some faces, 2, 3 faces there, and you notice when you do that and it's smooth you get all these very stretched holes. So what we have to do, whoops, oh actually I had it smooth, so I didn't put, it's even worse than I thought. It was stretching more than it needed to. Let's put an edge here and put another edge here. It's closer down here than it is up here, the slots. In fact, this one could probably go here. And take this edge and let's get rid of it. So then once again we'll take 3 faces and just delete them, but if I smooth that you get these wonky looking slots here. They're not nice and round like those. So in order to get these to be nice and round at the tops here and the bottoms, I need to put an edge in here to control the curvature. So I need a control edge. So let me go from the right side view here. Let me go into wireframe. Okay, so we can see our model. The holes are on the other side from this view. But so if I want to have a rounded end here, I need to put an edge that would make the area, this basically as close to a square as possible. So I'm just going to eyeball that. I can't just do an insert edge because it won't make it through all the way through the surface. So what I'm going to do is go back to object mode, and then holding the shift and the right mouse button I'm going to go to cut faces tool, and I'm just going to come in here and I pick the option mode, so I'm going to grab and pull this up until I get it. Cut an edge in there to make that right, to make these holes as close to square as possible. And then I'm going to hit Control G to duplicate. Well, just to show you once, if you didn't catch how I did that, once again holding the shift and right mouse button, hitting the shift and right mouse button, I'm going to cut faces, and I'm going to go to Tool, and in the tool options I'm making the cut in the XZ plane. Okay, so if I hit apply, I'll get a manipulator here and I can pull this up to where I want it to be. And once again I'm just shooting for making these as close to square as possible. Okay, so let's close that tool, come back out to perspective mode, go back to solid shading, and you'll see I've basically made 2 cuts through the model here. If I pick this and hit smooth now, you see we get these holes that are closer to round slots. But there's another issue that's happening. If you'd notice, if I put my cursor on this edge and then I hit the smooth preview, you see that edge jumps way away from my cursor. It's doing the same thing down here, right? That edge jumps way away from my cursor, and that's because as it smooths it tries to average out all these edges. So what I'm going to add in here is I'm going to go from the let's see if I can see it from the front view this time. Okay, yeah. From the front view I'm going to add what are actually this isn't, I could have put this down a little bit, but I'm going, you'll take a little bit more time than I did when you do this. But I need to put in here what are called clamping edges, because I want to clamp this edge so it doesn't jump up and this edge so it doesn't slide down when this model is smooth. So the same deal, I'm going to come in here and do the cut faces tool, and I'm going to put an edge right about the same distance from here to here, right there, and then I'm going to hit the G key to duplicate that, or to repeat that command. Hit the G key to repeat the command. Where's the manipulator? Let's see. Okay. I just hit Z to back up because it was doing something weird. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and that puts that edge in there, and then I'm going to hit the G key to repeat command. There we go. And I'm going to put another one right there. Okay. And now you'll notice, if I come back out into perspective mode, I now have two new edges, which I could have done a little better as well. These are not exact. Doesn't have to be perfect. But if I put my cursor on this edge now when I smooth, you see that edge doesn't move. Right? Because it's being clamped by this edge. And same thing down here. If I smooth and put my cursor on that edge, you see it doesn't move because it's being clamped by this edge. But if I put my cursor right here and I hit smooth, you'll notice this edge moves, jumps way up here, right? And that's because if you look at the distance between this edge down here is acting sort of like a natural clamping edge. So if I was to put one more edge, and this time I can use the insert edge loop tool, about this same distance from here to this edge, from this edge right here, so right about there, right? And now you notice if I smooth, this edge does move a little bit, right? But it's about the same distance as this edge is moving down here, so that ensures that we're going to have all the same curvature all the way around. Okay, so this edge is clamped, it doesn't move at all. This edge is clamped, it doesn't move at all. And then this edge is clamped by the same a clamping edge that's the same distance away from it as this edge is away from this edge down here. So this is acting like a natural clamping edge. So that gets us the slots. So now all that's left is to add some thickness to them. Okay, so for that, all I have to do is come in here and select these edge loops. Right, come out of smooth preview mode, and I'm just going to do an extrude on all of those. Find where the manipulator is, right, and just give it some thickness. So just take it and push it in. So I got some thickness, and then if I smooth it, let's see what it looks like. Okay, see, you can't really make out an edge here. So what we need is to have another edge in here to give it some tightness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some, rather than add a loop of faces around the holes, I'm just going to add an edge loop very tight close to this edge, and that'll give us a tight corner here. So all I have to do for that is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to create multiple edges, and I'm going to throw two in between all of these. Right, and then I'm going to, after that, I'm going to come in here and select this back edge because I don't need it. Double click that loop and double click that loop and just delete those. Right, because I just need this one edge. And now when I smooth it, you see I get thickness, and I get a nice edge going around here that's going to catch light to give the illusion that there is thickness to this. Okay, and once again, if you get far enough away from this, you're not going to see that anyway. At this point, thickness isn't going to matter anymore, but in case you get close enough in, you'll get the illusion that this has thickness to it. And there you go. We don't have any odd anomalies around the slots, and it's really just a matter of a square slot and a couple of clamping edges, and then an edge to control the radius of the slot itself.